All right, we're live here at the crime scene with my
What up, y'all?
guest Scarticulous. He wants you to follow his channel. He's got it in.
Yes, I put it there just so people knew who I was, just on the off chance you had any followers that could actually grow my channel.
We'll see. I tried to post.
I'm not too optimistic, but it's there just in case people want to follow me. So Scarticulous, that's my channel name.
I tried posting into the Woodsboro Horror Film Group, but the admins there don't like me much. So
who does?
No, nobody. Yeah. I'm allowed to reply. I'm allowed to reply to other people's posts, but they won't approve mine. No, from what I see, it's a common problem in there, kind of. Mm-hmm. But I tried to get the link out for Scream fans to see it.
Right.
Let me see here. So, yeah, we're kind of going to kick this off talking about the live stream I did a couple weeks ago that you popped in on. We were talking about Scream 7 and really kind of the problems with it, right? And yeah, even before we do this here, I'm just gonna, and if my video freezes, that's because I'm loading something else. Don't be alarmed, my audio won't freeze. I'm just copying this here into the, what is this, the notes, my notes here, so I don't have to jump off this. Yeah, so this stream, the point here is, see, we've already been trolled, right? Oh, can you see that on the teleprompter?
Are you coming in?
Yeah, are you able? Can you?
Yeah, I think my headphones were like, something happens like when I use my headphones and like StreamYard, like it starts getting all glitchy. Yeah. I don't know if that ever happens for you, but
here's the interesting thing about that. I don't know what StreamYard was like 6 or 7 years ago when it started taking off, but I'm questioning why so many people use headphones and microphones, because they have those AI canceling tools that get rid of the echo and shit. So you don't really have to use them.
Well, there is reverb. Like if I like right now your audio is very kind of low, but if I cranked it up, the audio from the computer would go into the mic and then it would echo. It would cause an echo. That's typically why people use headphones.
Yeah. Like there's that in the settings, you can, when you check those boxes, it tells you don't turn these off unless you're using a microphone and shit. But
yeah, there's echo cancellation, but I don't know how much that actually fixes of the problem.
I tested it before I, didn't use a microphone and audio just to make sure, like on a video playback, it didn't sound bad. Or were you able to see? You're not able to see what I have in the notes here, are you?
No.
Okay.
I can't see any of that shit.
Yeah, so I thought originally when you stopped talking, it jumped up and you said, "Whoa, that's a lot," or something. You were talking about the headphones, though. I thought you saw.
Yeah, it does this weird glitchy thing where like it pauses and then all the audio comes in like a millisecond. Like it's really glitchy.
Yeah,
so when I turn off the headphones, does it like go back to normal? Sometimes it does it, sometimes it doesn't. It's just unpredictable. Like
if I put the headphones on, it's more pressure on top of the mask and makes my head feel like it's want to explode. So something I learned. So yeah, the point of this stream, right? And we're going to be called trolls, right? This is going to be labeled as immature. That's okay, because their videos that they make showing off all this stuff is very mature, right? So
I don't think we're trolls at all. We're critics. Trolls are people that come in to try to insult people or derail the conversation. We're adding to the conversation and actually staying on topic.
That's true, and not taking personal shots.
Exactly. Trolls take personal shots all the time. I avoid that.
Right. And yeah, I mean, they're, it's nonstop, the name calling and whatnot. And I'm sure they're going to, be talking about this and whatnot. And that's okay. The point of this is to get some better information out, because there's quite a few things that these people repeat that is just complete nonsense. Yeah. Proven wrong, but they don't know it because they don't have the right information. So this is just going to be a fun and just a entertaining discussion using audio exhibits of things that they have said. And I've been accused of like trying to do this to take cheap shots at people. The truth is, I reached out to the Stu Clue Queen back at the beginning of November to offer to do a debate similar to this with them, and I was completely ignored. Now, that's fine. If they don't want to do it, if they don't want to respond, that's okay. But I don't want to hear people saying that I'm too scared to debate them or I'm trying to do this behind their back, because I very much attempted to do it.
Here's what you can do, by the way. Just a suggestion.
Yeah.
You can drop the StreamYard link in the chat and then pin it and say, if people want to come up to debate us, feel free. The link's right there.
That will have to be for down the road, and that's a great idea. I will be for another stream. But the point of these this stream and part 2 of this is not for a debate.
Okay.
It is to get the information out there.
Okay.
And to because obviously it would just derail. And but no, that's a good idea. That's definitely something I want to do. Yeah. So, and thanks for coming, by the way, because one thing that happened after I was a guest on your show a month ago was I did notice a very aggressive attempt on their end in your comments to try and drive a wedge between us and to stop me from collaborating with you. They wanted me out very much. You need to be careful who you're talking to. You need to vet him. He's toxic. Like, they were very much trying to silence me and not allow the people in the horror community to hear this stuff.
Believe it or not, that has happened to me quite a few times, and I've also been on the other end of that situation.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah. All I know is that no one's going to. Hey, Rockets Kitty, that she's one of mine.
I know
people. No one's gonna try to force me to not collaborate with someone or talk to someone. Like, that's just stupid, and I don't know where it comes from. Like, sometimes I don't even get like what people get so triggered about. Like, you can I'm sure if someone wanted to talk with you on panel, you would talk with them and it'd be not an issue. But it's like,
yeah, and there's a guy
they instead choose to play more of an antagonist role and just kind of insult, and it's like,
yeah, and for the people watching this, first of all, for Spidey, because I know Spidey's going to be watching this at some point, even though he says he's not. The ground rules were, I made an offer to him. I said, listen, if you want to debate on a neutral platform where there's a neutral host, that could be you, that could be somebody else, that could be a respectable Stuther, such as his name, he goes by C Scare, and I know he's going to be watching this too. The guy who yells.
Oh,
that guy.
That guy. Yeah.
He's more level-headed.
You mean Oscar?
Yeah, he has. I mean, he has some kind of what I would call
good old Oscar
extreme views on Stu, but he's a nice guy. He's not an asshole in the comments. He's building his channel right now. If he gets himself more established and he wants to host a live stream between me and Spidey, where he's a level, fair moderator. Where I submit questions, Spidey submit questions, and we have to answer each other's questions, and then we get a chance at a response to them, and it's just a level debate like that, live streamed, I'd be more than willing to do it. So yeah. But so yeah, again, not trying to make fun of anybody, but I mean, there is going to be some stuff being laughed at in this, as there has to be, because these people have said some outrageous things, and
I would love to laugh at stuff.
You're going to to be laughing pretty hard.
It's all about, right? It's entertainment.
When this starts going, there's a reason I have those sound effects ready to go. We'll just put it that way. Yeah. So in the last stream we talked about modifying Scream 7, what they kind of should have done, what they could have done with turning the killers, essentially, if you use the same plot, the same general idea, Sidney Tatum living in Indiana, same general outline, same cast, everything's kind of the same, right? And you talked about this before, where you said, they made Stu the red herring in Scream 7, which was, and believe it or not, some of these people don't understand that. They don't. They either. I have a recording from the Crash Out guy where he says either they weren't trying to make Sydney think that Stu was really alive in the movie. Regardless of, even if that's your theory, even if that's true, the filmmakers were certainly trying to make us think he was alive.
Yes.
Was the point. He was the red herring in the film, right?
Yeah.
And ultimately the problem with Scream 7, and I kind of, thought about this since the other day, or a couple of weeks ago, if we're talking about the time when you were in here. What I really thought about was the real reason why Scream 7 cannot go down as a great movie. I mean, it was a fun time in the theater. It was a good experience. It was probably a better watch in the theater than Scream 6 and 5. But as far as it being a great movie goes, the real problem was the story they were trying to tell, making Stu the red herring. I wasn't convinced. Ever, at any point, not even for a split second, was I convinced, where I was like, oh yeah, maybe he actually is coming back in this. They made no effort to appeal to anyone who wasn't a full-on Stuther.
Yeah, and this is kind of like what I was talking about last time, where they advertised Stu Macher coming back from the very first trailer, which should tell you something, that they're teasing Stu, and that can't possibly be the reveal because they're teasing him. Because he's been planned to be a red herring. It's like, hey, look at Stu, he's over here.
Yeah.
And that's like a sleight of hand. Like it, a lot of people don't realize this, but the Scream franchise is a bit like a magic trick. Okay. It's very sleight of hand. It's like, the cups game where they're like, okay, sliding the cups around. Where's the coin? Where's the coin? Where's the coin? Right? Where's the coin? Right? And they pull the cup like, oh, no coin. That's the Scream franchise, where they're constantly trying to make you guess, like, who's the killer, who's this person, and they want to shock you. They want to like catch you off guard. That's the whole point of the movie. So they wouldn't just outright telegraph the killer and be like, Stu Macher's the killer.
Right.
That's not what they're gonna do.
So just to start that, so if we're gonna talk about like the way they should have modified that and made that to make it believable, number one, Matthew Lillard should have never been advertised to be in the film. That was like to tell everyone he's going to be.
I agree.
That right there. Like, I will say this, and I can give a perfect example of how this is just factually accurate. So I knew Matthew Lillard was in the movie. I knew Scott Foley was in the movie. I knew David Arquette was in the movie. I did not know Laurie Metcalf was going to be in the movie.
That
and seeing her in it was like
a little bit of a shock.
Was a jaw-dropping moment, like, oh shit. And she had no point in being there, right? But still, because we didn't know she was going to be there, it was like, oh wow.
Now imagine if none of this had gotten leaked beforehand. Like, do you think that would have changed your mind towards the film, like, at all? If none of this stuff was leaked, if none of the trailers or anything promoted Stu or anything like that, and it was just boilerplate kind of Scream stuff, and then you finally saw the movie and all these reveals came out, do you think you would have been shocked then?
Well, here's what I will say. If they never advertised Lillard in the film, if we didn't know, if they kept it completely quiet, didn't say a thing, the trailer was nothing but ghost face attacks. Like, if they would have done an strictly action trailer, like showing Ghostface running around, showing some blood, whatever, screaming, gunshots, if it would have been an action in your face trailer, which would get people's attention and make them want to see it without revealing any of the story, any of the plot. That's the thing with something like that. You don't have to, like, I've made trailers for my own live action stuff before. I always make a trailer. And there's been times where one of them, specifically one of the newer ones, it was just like nothing but action. I didn't try and tell a story. I didn't try and let anyone know what it was about. You could do that with Scream, right? And you don't have to say what it's about at all. Maybe you show Sydney's daughter for a second and say, like, yeah, like acknowledge that it's her daughter, but you didn't have to tell a story of what's going on in the film. Right. It could be nothing but Ghostface, because that's ultimately what people come to see. No mention of Matthew Lillard being in the film. And so let's say that's true, right? And we get in there, we don't know he's there. We're sitting down, and like I'd mentioned before, Sydney's in the coffee shop and she gets a phone call, right? the Roger Jackson voice on the phone. Hey, Sydney, look outside. And fucking Stu is standing across the street from the coffee shop in person, right?
Yeah.
Even myself, a huge Stu skeptic, if I would have seen him physically there, I'd have been like, oh shit, maybe they're doing this. You know,
so that's also like the biggest indicator of him not being alive in the film, is because remember that preview that only came out in the theaters and was never officially put out?
The image of his,
you got the first view of Stu on Sydney's phone or whatever. Remember that?
Yeah.
It was like a really glitchy kind of look.
Yeah, that
right there should kind of tell people like, okay, this is, you know, and every appearance that he had in Scream 7 through the first half is him on her phone. So that should tell you like, okay, this dude's not real, right?
Yeah, and well, it wasn't just that. So yeah, let me see. I think I have this here.
And that's why if he did appear in person, at least you could have been like, oh my God, is he real? But if he's just appearing on phone screens, then
yeah. And well, here's the thing. And as soon as that happened, you know, they started doing their like denial shit. Like the theory they all came up with was, oh, well, yeah, he's going to be AI, but then he's not going to be AI. Like they were kind of admitting they knew he was going to be AI because the movie spoiled it. Like they showed it, but then they're like, no, but then he's really going to be alive. It's all just a swerve. You know, obviously that's not going to happen, right? He's not going to use AI to fool you into thinking he's dead and then turn out to be, I mean, that was just wishful thinking on their end. You know, they spoiled the whole thing, right? They showed you what it was. You knew he was in the movie. So if you go into the film and you see him there physically, right? He's there. He runs away. You know, maybe he leaves like a fucking like little trinket of a busted TV or something laying in an alleyway or something. And Sydney picks it up and she's like, fuck, I saw him. You know, he's real. You know, there's a huge scene with she calls her cop husband and she's like, no, he's dead. He's dead. You know, all that shit. So in this, there's no psychiatric, you know, mental hospital, none of that shit. But what I'd said, because some of these people got to catch up on this. So basically, it starts off, Sydney's living in that house, and then you meet her neighbor, which is Jessica, her son, and they would have Ethan Embry playing her husband, right? This normal family living in there, and you'd actually get to see him more and whatnot, see him interact with Sydney. The movie needed to be like 45 minutes longer with more scenes of these people.
Yeah.
So they're interacting. You get to see that they're normal. And now Sydney's called her husband, right? Like, you know, I saw Stu. He's real. Then Gail comes into town. You know, maybe Carl, instead of being a mental patient, he's just some other, what will end up being just some other Stuther, right? That gets mowed down by Gail. And then Gail and Sydney talking. Here's something that they could have done, right? When Gail and Sydney are talking, Gail could have said, she could have been like, Sydney could have been like, Stu's dead. I know he was dead. And then Gail could have went, well, remember though, he was still alive when the paramedics got there. He died on the way to the hospital, right? If they would have planted a little bit of doubt, something like that, where he was initially still alive.
Right.
Then he died on the way to the hospital, and that's the story they got. Then you're thinking, oh, maybe something nefarious happened in the ambulance or wherever he went. Maybe he did get out somehow. I just saw him in person. Now they're providing these other details that he wasn't initially dead. They're really doing this. They have a story, right? I didn't even know this fucker was in the movie, and they've got all this stuff laid out, and you're like, okay.
That's why, like, I was a little bit disappointed with the movie. Well, I was a lot disappointed, but especially with the part where they didn't do any real investigative journalism kind of stuff to try to figure out if Stu was actually alive or dead. No rooting through records, no going to official. They had that one scene with the call to the coroner or whatever, and that was it. Yeah. Like, that's not enough. You need more than that.
Right. And especially because you can just steal papers. I mean, that's like, yeah, they made no hard effort. And then we talked about how they blew it with the John Doe shit with Ethan Embry. I mean, him cooking up this story. I mean, the guy may as well just wrote, I'm a killer.
And I also just say, like, you know, just to every Stuther out there, like, if you want to believe that Stu's alive still, and that's fine. I don't care about that. But just know something, and this is a fact, okay? You guys are putting way more thought into this movie than the creators of the movie did. Okay?
Yes.
Way more thought. I promise you, they put in a few bits just to like kind of stoke the Stu stuff, and they didn't think about it too hard. They put that one call with the coroner thing. They put the, you know, a few of the phone, you know, things in there, and that's it. They did not process it like you guys are trying. They didn't, you know, they dropped enough hints just to make you think he was alive, and that's it. They didn't like try to really, you know,
They did not try and sell us.
yeah.
They did not try to reach us. They were only, in fact, it's funny because the Stuthers begged for this guy to come back, and then they essentially made the movie specifically for them.
Right.
Because they sure as shit weren't trying to reach me with that. Trying to have this guy make up a story that he just, and this is, okay, we're going to get to audio exhibits here to start. This is where, you know, they're saying, you know, Ethan Embry says, oh yeah, that's John. He just, he was a drifter. He just walked here. Okay. So if they, and if
there's
they
so many plot holes in this movie,
if they want to believe that, then they're essentially,
that was so ridiculous. It's like, if anything, he would have been in a mental institution in California. Right.
Well, I can't remember what they said exactly.
And then what? He just so happens to be in one that's close to Sydney.
Yeah. Was it
Indiana?
that,
like, does that make any sense to anyone?
Was it that he walked, that he hitchhiked from California to Indiana, or he got picked up in outside Los Angeles and then they just happened to ship him conveniently to the right mental hospital next to Sydney?
This is why. You remember all the conspiracy theories before the movie came out, where they're like,
oh, we'll be talking about them.
He was in a mental institution for 25, 30 years, and you know, he's just getting out and all that stuff, right? All of that, those theories fall to pieces when you look at Scream 7 and what they are saying happened, right?
Yeah.
If we're to believe that Stu actually was there in that mental institution, you have to consider the fact it's in Indiana, not California. And that's a very different story. Like, if it was in California, I might have been able to believe it, but Indiana, so what? Wait, was he in that Indiana one for 30 years before Sydney even moved there? Or was he transferred over? He was picked up when? When was he picked up?
He was just a drifter with memory loss.
He was a drifter. Okay, so he was drifting for 25 years, and then he was brought to the Indiana Mental Institute. Like, what?
Okay, I'm going to start with this one.
It makes no sense.
We're going to start with this audio exhibit. And again, for fair warning, I am not trying to make fun of anybody. Okay, but some of this shit is funny and it has to be addressed. And
it would suck to be stuck in Indiana for 30 years.
Here we go. This is linked to what we're talking about.
Sydney was only there for like what, 10 years?
It sucked to be stuck.
And Stu was there for 30 fucking years. Oh my god.
He's alive in my heart. Okay, you know what? Before I play this, she just said he's alive in my heart. Okay, I want to play this. This is the last exhibit for this show I put together. Here we go.
Yeah, so whether they bring him back or not, he'll always be alive out there somewhere for me. I don't care. That's kind of how I feel, you know? Like, I think all of the clues and stuff and the theories that we've talked about for years all still make sense, and the fact that they filmed an alternate ending, like, that just proves that it's 100% possible. So I'm just going to choose to believe that it's true, like, he's alive, and whatever ending they filmed exists, and that actually happened. We just didn't get to see it. We didn't get to witness it. You know,
who
knows what happens behind closed doors? So yes, Stu's still out there somewhere.
Okay, so here's my argument for this. And I feel like it's very debatable, this point here that I'm about to say. Are we to believe that everything that was scripted, even if it's earlier drafts, even if they're cut scenes that were left on the cutting room floor, you know, whatever the case, that didn't make it into the final movie, that all of that is canon? Because if so, then I mean, it would explain a lot about why the Stuthers think the way they do, because they think everything that was left out about Stu in Scream 3 is still canon. Like, that still happened. The Stu cult and all that. They think that stuff still happened, even though it wasn't in the movie. And it was literally from an earlier draft of the movie, from what I understand, or an earlier idea of the movie, right? Like an earlier incarnation of a completely different movie, basically, right? They completely changed the story of Scream 3. So therefore, all that stuff that didn't make it into the final cut, it never happened. It never existed. Okay. As far as the canon of this series goes, it never happened. If it happened, it would be in the movie. So it's just like what she's saying here. I can choose to believe, because they filmed a coda, you know, a cut scene of Stu at the end of Scream 7, that, you know, he's still alive, but it wasn't in the movie. And it's not even going to be on the Blu-ray, extra features, deleted scenes thing. It's not there, right?
We get into that.
The only proof we have of it is what Kevin Williamson said, which, I'm sorry, he did lie about some stuff. He's not that reliable.
Yeah.
Okay? Just like he said 3-4 years ago, Stu's dead, right? People are only saying this stuff because of Scream 2. Because Matthew Lillard was in the background of the college sorority party thing, right?
It's primarily,
that's literally verbatim what he said. That's literally what he said 3-4 years ago. If you look this up, Kevin Williamson said, no, Stu's dead. Yeah. People are only saying that because of Matthew Lillard's cameo in Scream 2. So which Kevin Williamson are we to believe? The one that said that, or the one that said he filmed a coda of Stu being alive?
And I tried digging into that shit. There's no information provided about what that coda was. People have been like saying stuff about Stu.
No. Okay. So hold on. Let me pause your sec. There was that one stream or interview or whatever that he did. I can't remember which creator he did it with, but some YouTuber, where he describes the scene where Stu had like a laptop and he was sitting in like a basement or something.
I tried to find it and I can't find it.
And then he closed the laptop or something, and then like you kind of see him smile or something. Like, that was basically it. It was very short, like as far as he described it. Right. I'm
gonna have to try. If you can find a link for that later in some
way. I'll find it some other time. It's been a while since I've seen it, but yeah, that does exist. I heard that. But that
I've heard it. I haven't seen it.
Again, that doesn't mean it actually happened.
Yeah.
But even if it did, it's not in the final movie and it's not in any of the deleted scenes. So how do we know it actually exists?
As far as I'm concerned, until I see it, it didn't exist.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't, because I mentioned this in your stream a month ago. That whole thing about him trying to get Emma Roberts back. Emma Roberts has now come out and said that she was not offered a part in the film. And
she literally debunks what he says and says, no, actually, I didn't receive any offers at all.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sorry, but Kevin Williamson is not that reliable. If you guys want to believe what he says, fine. But he's proven to have a very spotty track record when it comes to telling the truth.
So here's some more things. So about the whole thing, the story about, Stu just walking out of the house or walking out of the morgue. Here's a clip here.
And what's funny to me is that the whole time I was watching this movie for the first time, I wasn't even thinking about it in a murder mystery way, which is crazy. Mm-hmm. I was not exactly taking it at face value, but kind of. I mean, the whole thing of it was, is this real or not? And they had me a little bit. They had me right at the end, but
yeah, they had me too a couple times.
Now, we, of course, also get Marco in the hospital talking about John Doe, who is supposed to be Stu. He sees this image of Stu. Sydney asked him, do you recognize this guy? And he's like, oh, yeah, that's John Doe. Him and Carl were close. What the fuck? Okay, first of all, when I saw that scene for the first time, I was like, this is it. Done deal. Like, he recognizes Stu. Stu's alive. Because, like I said in my review, I don't know if you've seen my review for the movie yet, but I really did not suspect Marco. I was surprised by Marco's reveal, which still doesn't make it a good reveal to me.
Listen, if you were duped by Marco who is without question now the most obvious killer in horror history.
He was very suspicious.
Like for him to cook up the story of Stu hitchhiking to Indiana. I mean, I've never been so certain of who a killer was in a movie ever. There's really, when you think about it, when you crunch the information, there's no way out of it. There's no way for him to not be the killer when he says that shit. Like, so, I mean, and that's, and so here's, again, as far as the story goes, the story that Marco said, we have this.
They set it up. They planted the evidence with like, oh, the missing coroner's intake report or whatever it was. The little backstory they made up where, oh, he's a drifter. He was on the streets of Los Angeles, something like that. He was homeless, ended up in the hospital. They set it up in such an easy way where, like, you know, for the longest time, people were like, well, it wouldn't make sense. And they'd have to spend 30 minutes explaining a backstory. They didn't have to. They easily set it up in like 30 seconds.
Okay, so what they're saying there, I guess, is that it makes sense from a writing standpoint for either one of two things to have happened. Either Stu picked the TV off his head and walked out the back door and nobody cared. The cops didn't care. Sidney didn't say a word. He just walked on the street and was like, oh, well, you know, let him go, whatever. And that kind of flies in the face of all their theories about the rich parents paying someone off, right? If he's just walking down the street,
it doesn't make any sense, no matter how you slice it, because the paramedics and the police, they came to that house. It was literally the most famous serial killing in that universe, okay? In the Scream universe. Like, that's literally what they always talk about in every Scream movie after the fact, right? And you're gonna tell me that they just oopsied, forgot about Stu Macher's corpse? Like, it never...
Or he was in the morgue.
And it was never talked about after that. Like, no one ever found Stu Macher's corpse. Just like a line like that maybe would have like stoked some curiosity, you know? But it's like, we're just meant to believe that somehow that whole night he just slipped out the back door, no explanation, and just was drifting for 30 years.
Or he stood up out of the morgue and walked out of the morgue. And whoever was working in the morgue was too embarrassed to tell anyone they lost the body and just I mean, is that really what they were going to try and go with? That they were too embarrassed to
Either way, you're going to need a more expanded explanation for what happened there. You can't just, you know, write everything off in 30 seconds. Like, well, he's just was drifting for 30 years. They just didn't catch him. You know, 98, 96. It's just they slipped their minds to check on the body. 1 minute he was there, next minute it was, you know, the scarecrow that was you know, and it was full of stuffing and straw.
And then we have this one here.
Yeah, the murder mystery aspect. Again, the problem was the AI.
Yeah,
you know, because throughout the whole movie, like all of us, and I think every one of us, I don't think, well, I'm not saying everyone, but most everyone in our circle that we talked to and so forth, I don't think anyone thought 100% that Stu was coming back. People hoped, you know, and there might be some people that were pretty high on that scale, but no one thought, yep, 100% he's back.
Lord of Dogtown says, I went to 7 not expecting Stu. But as I was watching the film in theater, I kept getting the feeling he would turn up at the end. It's my own fault, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I was fully expecting him. There was no doubt in my mind. I was 100% expecting Stu to show up down to the very last second. Even in the end credits, I was like, he's got to show up.
It just means that she took the bait.
And boy, was I disappointed.
She took the bait.
But in the first part of that clip, the host that I mentioned before, or the Night Watch Zone, you know, he said that in his circle, nobody thought he was coming back. No one really believed he was coming back. So, you know, maybe she's not in his circle, but she said she 100% for sure believed he was coming back. So I don't know what I'm to believe anymore. You know, do these Stuthers actually believe this stuff?
Well, I feel like some of them have wishful thinking and they think, and this I'm sorry, but this movie was baiting the Stu fans awfully hard. So if you fell for it, it's only because they set the trap for you to fall for it.
Yeah, it is.
That said, you should still probably be more discerning, because these people are, they're trying to trick you. They're trying to lure you into a trap, and by Stu baiting is what I'm going to call it. Stu baiting, you fans, that should make it obvious at that point that he's not the killer, that he's not even real, not even that he's not the killer, that he's not real.
Yeah. So again, if you go back into the story we were talking about, how they could have modified this. So if they would have worked hard to convince you he was alive, if there would have been something, and if, like, let's say Anna Camp's character was like attacked by a ghost face, right? And he did the two hands over the head thing, right? And then, like, she's filling out a police report, and she tells them that, then one of the kids could have been like, that's Stu Macher's move, right? And they could have kept building this, like, with actual stuff in the film.
Right. Like,
and then
receipts,
even
actual like tells that were part of the Stu Clues for years, that would make you think, hey, wait a minute, is that Stu? Without just overtly showing him on a phone, At that point, it's like they're waving it like a carrot in front of your face, hoping you're gonna bite,
Yeah, and they did.
There's no mystery there. There was no mystery with Stu being alive in Scream 7. From the very jump of that first trailer, they're like, Stu's alive, but he's not. Action Calm says Master Stu baiting. Yes. Oh, this guy right here. This is one of my longest running supporters. He was at an event today with Kevin Williamson. Oh,
and
wow.
he was going to try and ask him a question, but he left. He sent me an email asking what I should ask him about Stu, and I thought he was, like, hypothetically just asking because of the stream today, but then I reread it after he emailed me again. He's like, well, he left. I'm like, oh shit, you were actually in the room with him. So
I would have been like, so where's that coda?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Where's that coda at? Because you said that it existed, but it's not in the deleted scenes. So what did you do with it?
So back to what we were saying there with the story. So if they keep doing this, right, if they start leaving real clues and you physically seen him, all this shit, and then you get to the end, and like I mentioned before, you still got Isabel May tied up somewhere. Sydney gets in the house. She goes into Jessica's house, and then she finds the Stu room, and there's a fucking 6'5" cardboard cutout of Vince Vaughn, who played Stu in Stab, right? And then, like, Sydney looks on the wall and she sees all this crazy Stuther stuff. She sees them taking a family vacation every year to the Macher house, and that would explain, their connection to it, why they burned it down. They felt that they needed to do it to get attention or whatever. They do that to, like, put eyes on Stu. You see all the stuff on the wall, the conspiracy board, all the Stu clues, everything written out. And then you find out that the family, the normal family next door, Anna Camp, her son, and Ethan Embry, that they're all the biggest Stuthers. And they're doing whatever they can. They've decided, they're sick of the movies not bringing him back. And they're trying to convince the world that the real Stu is alive. So that's why, and you find out during the movie that, like, Anna Camp says something like, maybe she does, like, hair and makeup or something. She's like, yeah, I used to work in Hollywood. And then you find out that she made the prosthetics that her husband wore out into town, that he's been walking around as Stu to try and convince people the real Stu is still alive. And then they did all these killings to make people think the real Stu never died. And then it's going to force Sunrise Studios to bring Vince Vaughn back into the movies because the real Stu's still alive. If they would have done something like that with these characters, like, that'd have been about the most meta thing ever. Like, they could have paid Sister Pam to go out there, right, and make a Stab Stu Clue video. And Jessica, they had her come out to the movie premiere, right? They could have had her made a Stab Stu Clue video, and then Jessica. I mean, everyone can envision Anna Camp doing this, right? taking the mask off me, like, Sydney, I know all the clues. I've seen all the Pamela's videos, like running around. You know, here they are. My favorite's clue 40, the area code. Like her just rambling all this shit off.
I'm gonna give one little edit, and I'm gonna basically suggest the same thing that I suggested last time you told me this idea. I don't want the Sister Pam stuff in there. I don't want her in the movie. That's too meta. It's cringe. Okay, no. But if they had a small little nod to her with a different character, like Brother Sam, something like that, right? Or Brother Sam, maybe he's a black dude. I don't know. You're just talking about the Stu Clues, and then they bring this guy in, then I would be okay with it. But don't refer to anything in the actual real world like that, because then it breaks immersion in this universe. We're in the Scream universe. We're not in our universe.
Yeah. But I mean, they could have
done. Ryan Johnson didn't really direct Stab 8 or whatever, right?
True. I'm just saying, for entertainment purposes, I mean, you could see how all of that could have worked. You know, it would have all made sense.
In concept and in theory, I can see how that would have worked and been better. Because at least it would have made sense that she's using the Stu Macher stuff for some story reason, some motivated reason, and still be meta, but also still, you know, play into the whole Stu stuff in a way that's meta.
It's as meta as it could be, because there's nothing more meta with the Scream universe right now than talking about Stu being alive.
But it feels like in this movie that the Stu Macher stuff, everyone likes to talk about it and like, oh, was Stu alive? Was Stu not? How about let's talk about that Stu Macher was the most random fucking inclusion in this movie, period. Like, literally, what connection did he have to Jessica or to, you know, what's the guy's name? Marco's character. What, besides him being a Stu head, like he liked Stu, okay, whatever. What relevance did he really have in the overall plot? Nothing. There was no real.
They didn't take any time to explain.
Like Jessica, she could have used fucking Billy Loomis's image for all we cared, right? The only reason Stu Macher was used is because the Stu fans, they wanted to Stu bait the Stu fans,
right?
Like it could have been anyone. It could have been fucking Roman, which they ended up, you know, using a lot of these. But then also it sticks out that they didn't get fucking what's his name, Billy Loomis's actor,
Skeet
Ulrich, to come back to reprise his role. So that sticks out like a sore thumb that he wasn't even included in all the people to bring back to torment Sydney. Like, so you left out Billy Loomis?
Well, I think they were trying. Well, so they didn't. The only
Macher as your main tormentor.
Well, until the end of the movie, Stu was the only AI person in the film.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like and they brought back so many people, which is cool, whatever. But to leave out Billy Loomis is like a
he absolutely should have been at the end.
Yeah, he should have at least been in the end. Like if you're going to go with that concept of bringing back, you know, people in AI forms and ghost faces to torment Sydney, you almost have to bring back Billy Loomis, right?
Yeah, he's the most important, you know, really in person of all Sydney's enemies. Yeah. Him and Jill and Roman.
Yeah.
Ultimately would be the three you would want to have, but it was just again, and they were trying to make the red herring for the audience. Yeah, inside the universe, inside the Scream universe, having Stu be the one they're using really doesn't make a lot of sense.
No.
They're and like these Stuthers do try and romanticize this like connection between
in fact
like
in fact, I'm gonna say this: when I was watching Scream 7, and like I heard all the rumors for months that, you know, Stu's gonna be in this and he's gonna speak to Sydney through AI and all this stuff, right? That was being leaked for months, right? And then, you know, I'm kind of thinking before the movie comes out, like, okay, that sounds weird. Let's see how they're gonna pull this off. And then I see the movie, and Sydney's like shocked, like, oh my god, Stu. At the same time, I'm thinking that she's thinking, why of all fucking people is Stu Macher tormenting me? Like we never even had a special connection. A lot of people, they focus on like little lines that Stu said in the first movie, like, I always had a thing for you, Sid. That was literally said for 2 seconds. They barely had any relationship in the movie. They barely had any like real association beyond him saying a few snarky things in the movie, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think they had much of a relationship.
No, they didn't. And again, there's such
significance. There's a disconnect there for me because it's like, okay, Stu, why pick Stu? You could have picked Roman or Billy for this, right? It's just weird.
I think it had to do. I mean, I understand from
baiting. We know why they did it. It's because they wanted to bait the Stu fans.
In universe,
but in universe, it makes no fucking sense.
I would say that in universe, the reason why it was done with not having Billy or not having Roman was because I hate to use this, but it was because Sydney didn't shoot them in the head. Didn't shoot Stu in the head. I would say that's why they thought they could like mess with her with it.
No.
You don't think that's why that's not a universe?
The reason why I refuse that theory, that Stu Clue theory of yours.
Oh, that's not I'm just saying that in universe, if they were going to try and fuck with Sydney.
No, I get your rationale, but I refuse it on one ground. They did not think that far they didn't even think about it that much when including Stu. They just thought, oh, let's bring Stu back for this because Stu fans like Stu and they all think he's alive. So let's fuck with them a little bit. That's literally all the thought they put into it. There's no in-universe reasoning that you're going to give them that will make that make sense because they didn't think about that when making the movie. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was just, as Melissa Barrera put it, I guess, nostalgia bait.
Yeah, that's all it was. That's all it was. There was no in-universe reasoning for it because they didn't think about it. And I'm going to call what you just said a fan wank because there's no proof of that in the movie.
Proof of which thing in the movie?
Of the fact they chose Stu because, he's the one who didn't get shot in the head.
Oh, yeah, they definitely didn't confirm it. I was just trying to,
You were trying to rationalize what the writers did with the movie. But you're basically doing the same thing that the Stu Macher fans are trying to do and rationalize with the canon to make it make sense, right? But you're not going to make it make sense because the writers didn't put that much fucking thought into it.
Hey, maybe I'm doing this because I'm a closet Stuther. And this whole stream is another Stu clue. It's a whole clue. But maybe that's what's... No, okay, so speaking of our buddy Spidey, we have this. I'm just going to play this, and then I'm going to run through some exhibits here.
Matthew Lillard just said that Stu is still alive in the Scream universe. I don't know how anyone even watched that movie and said, yo, Stu is dead.
You really think...
Well, it probably has to do with the fact that, number one, not even before the movie, if he wants to know why anyone would think Stu is dead. Well, first of all, in the film, right, in the movie right here, it shows him die, and here's Stu, and here's the characters with video game light bars.
Look at that bar.
Of how Stu is doing at this moment. He's expired. He's fucking dead.
That's
right?
Great.
So if you want to know why someone might think he's dead, so number one, they showed him die. In Scream 5, they actually attach a crime scene photo to the official DVD of photo. This is not a deleted scene because photos aren't scenes. Okay. Right. They're not static YouTube videos for commentary. This is a photo they chose to attach that shows he's fucking dead. Did they put a lot of thought into making this? Does it look accurate to the first film? Not 100%. There's definitely some things off, but they obviously didn't give a shit. Again, they didn't put that much thought into it, but you can see where their heads are at. He's dead, right?
Yeah. So, I think this is why, if they have small little inconsistencies with things like that, the Stu fans can pick it apart and be like, well, this lamp was over here in the real scene, and therefore it's a forgery. It's a fake.
Right.
It's like, guys.
And then we moved to
taking the movies way too seriously than they were intended.
Then we moved to 6, and they literally put in writing from an FBI monitored board that he's fucking dead. They put it in writing. And I'm going to tell you that as a writer, this is something you just do not do. This is like the cardinal sin of writing, especially into a film. If you put shit like this down, you are making your final decision. This is from the cops, right? So at this moment, anything about him being in prison, in a mental hospital, that's all 100% gone.
Is this Exhibit B?
Exhibit B, what do you mean?
I don't know. I'm just asking. Is this Exhibit B?
Oh, I don't think I have it labeled.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah, I used to give you.
You got a donation, bro.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
I'm glad you're monitoring the chat. I'll pull it up here in a sec. So yeah, this is so they put this in writing in Scream 6. Like, this is Guy Busick, Mr. Stuther, right? Why would and I got to take issue with that. I don't think this guy has ever had any intention of bringing Stu back or wanting to bring Stu back.
No, and in fact, you could say that all the Stu clues prove that he's dead, because if he was alive, there wouldn't be a need for Stu Clues.
If here's the thing, we know for a fact that they have no interest in bringing him back. They never have, because if they did, they would have done it.
Right?
If
they would have done it.
Some kind. And this is the thing.
They're still expecting it in Scream 8. It's like, dude, if they were going to do it, they would have done it for Scream 7.
And Kevin Williamson talked about this in that interview. He said we're going to get to this. I got to move this along a little bit of a faster pace. We'll need more stuff for 2 weeks. I'm trying to move it as fast as I can. Kevin Williamson in that interview basically said the same thing, that he had a conversation with Lillard, like saying, listen, dude, we can't do it. I've tried to crunch it in my head. I've tried to make it make sense, and it doesn't. I have too much respect for myself as a writer.
He was having a little bicker with his gay lover, and he was like, I can't tell him that he's being in the movie because Stu's dead. That makes no sense. It makes no sense. Stu's dead. I can't tell him that. And he's like, well, tell him he's in the movie. You tell him right now. You get up.
I'm glad you're doing that, because I'm going to do my own version of it when I load it up.
And then he's like, okay, I'll tell him.
Yeah,
Matthew, you're in the movie. Stu, you're playing Stu Macher. Should be back.
Let me play this here. I'm going to try and get back
Kevin
on.
Williamson and his gay lover.
We got a donation arm. Stu is alive. He just couldn't make it on set, so they fired him. Well, I appreciate the $5, Armed Rebel Studios. But well, in fairness, Matthew Lillard was on set, and Rockets Kitty said that our idea would have worked a lot better, or she said the idea a crazy Stu fan felt reincarnated from him. Yeah, I mean, anything like that would have made more sense if they're going to use him. Yeah. But I still love the idea of them worshiping a Vince Vaughn cutout.
At least if you're going to use Stu, have it make sense in the context of the story itself.
Right. And, also about that, the fact of Vince Vaughn playing Stu in Stab, remember who played Billy? Luke Wilson. So the two leads from Old School were the leads in Stab.
That's funny.
Yeah. That is, and I guess Alicia Silverstone played Tatum in Stab, according to the Scream 5 cast list, which that's an interesting thought. Let me see here. So let me play this. I've got and again, we're gonna have a few laughs here in a second, but here's this here.
That guy didn't cook anything.
Dead Ghost is here saying Stu lives.
Raged.
Same guy.
I don't know, man.
I'm going to restart this here.
Yeah, restart it.
So this is proof. I talked about this before. There is some chink in the armor here, even from the biggest Stuther, from the Stu Clue Queen herself. The troll Dead Ghost is sending her something here first. Let's listen to this.
Dead Ghost is here saying Stu lives. I don't know, man. I hope so. I hope so. In one of my initial videos after the movie came out, I was saying how once I saw Scream 7, I was like, that's it. Like, he must not be alive. But yeah, Stu did not come back alive in Scream 7, unfortunately. So what does that mean? Is he gone for good? Are we never going to see him again? Or could we still see him in Scream 8? Now, I will say my initial thinking after seeing the movie, being disappointed, really sitting with the reality that we didn't get Stu, I initially thought, that's it. The door is closed forever. There's no way they're going to bring Stu back in Scream 8 or in the future. If there was ever a time, it would have been Scream 7. I am still feeling pretty doubtful that we'll see him. You know, they finally did it. They finally made me feel feel defeated, like I want to give up. I'm not giving up. There are some clues to talk about. I feel like there could still be a possibility, but I'll admit I'm not feeling good about it. I'm trying to get there, but it's like, how many times can I be disappointed? I'm not feeling it in my heart like I once did. But, you know, there are some people out there who still think it's a possibility, including Matthew Lillard himself. So that is giving me a little bit of motivation to keep the Stu train going. But I know in this video, in the comment section, there's going to be people saying, you're delusional, give it up, give it a rest. I know, I understand, I get it, I get where you're coming from, but it's a movie, you guys. Like, you know, let's have some fun.
Well, that's what we're doing. We're having some fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can
I
hear
think
it.
it's fun to criticize stuff.
You can hear it. Like she knows.
Yeah, she
Like,
feels like it's the end, like it's over.
Yeah, she knows.
It's
Stuver. You know, if she's watching this, there's going to be some stuff we're going to get to here in just a bit where I'm going to like kind of show her maybe if she would have looked at some of this stuff a little more closely, she'd realize that it's not even doesn't even exist the way she thinks it does, and that maybe some of these clues that she's thought of that made her think he was alive, maybe she never should have been thinking it in the first place.
Can I also just say this?
Sure.
Like, it's very possible for there to be multi-story, multi-sequel arcs in movies, TV shows, whatever, that built books, right? That build up to something, that are actively, consciously building up to something, right? That's a thing. I am not arguing that at all. Where they're building up to like a reveal of some kind, right? And then you finally get the reveal, and you're like, oh my God, right?
Yeah.
These movies, they were just dropping like little Easter eggs throughout them. An Easter egg is just like, oh, remember this? You know, or look at this. Isn't that cool? Like just like a throwback or like a little hint of like, remember this? Like from the past, something that would just kind of make you go, oh, that's cool. And that's it, right? They weren't legitimately building a story to reveal Stu throughout any of these movies. And so for these to be Stu Clues, it would have to be building to a final reveal, and that's not what they were ever planning.
And here's the thing. Again, we've talked about this before. I've said this before. I was never inherently against Stu returning.
Right.
That my whole thing is, it needs to make sense. And I tried this in my head, as did Kevin Williamson. There is no possible way, because here's what people don't realize. The more time goes by and the more movies they make, by omitting certain details, they're confirming certain things. But as an example, if they would have, I would say that they actually could have brought Stu back alive all the way up until Scream 5. That in Scream 5, he still could have been alive. Now, in order for him to have been alive in 2, 3, 4, and 5, he would have had to have been in prison. That's it.
Yes. Prison, or they could have done the whole asylum thing.
Arkham Asylum.
Yes. Some kind of like low key, like he's in one of the back room kind of thing.
We're just going to lump it into prison. We're just going to say prison.
Whatever.
Some
facility where it's very low key and whatever.
He could have been imprisoned in some way all the way up until Scream 5. And I say this because in Scream 2, 3 and 4, they never really address him at all. There's
Right.
nothing where they ever really talk. There's nothing there. Randy in Scream 2 references him in the past tense as though he's dead. He says Stu was a pussy ass wet rag or something like that. Now, I mean, you could get past that as a writer. That's not, that's not too bad. He could have been in prison in any of those movies. The reason why I say it dies in 5 is because he is too closely connected to the events in 5, whether it being his nephew getting killed, a killer living in his house, Dewey talking about him. He's too close proximity for somebody to not say, oh yeah, by the way, he's in prison.
Right.
Someone would have to say,
it had to have mentioned it at least.
It would have to be mentioned in some way in that. And at that point, and then you get to 6 and they show he's dead in writing. At that point, it's over.
Yeah.
Like they did this. These filmmakers made this choice. They didn't have to do that. Let me just play this. We're going to have a laugh here. I know you know this guy.
Stu Macher is alive, whether you like it or not. Dread it, run from it. Stu Macher arrives all the same. And this is a message out there to all y'all Stu deniers. You know what? Even to the Stu believers who are watching this video and want him to come back and thinks he'll come back. He will come back, and he is not coming back just to be a freaking AI deep fake, an AI voice. He is coming back for real. And this is what they've been building up to since Scream 5.
Yeah. Yeah, nah.
Oh shit. That is
That's embarrassing. That's why you don't ever claim to be so completely 100% sure about fucking anything. Right? That's just stupidity. Now you look like an idiot. I wonder if these people still believe in Santa Claus.
Oh, hey, we got this. I shit him 6 times.
Shit him 6 times. So he talks shit at them?
Does he like him or not? That's a good question.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That is funny.
Schrodinger Stu.
I'm not sure. Schrodinger. What is that exactly? I can't
Schrodinger, like Schrodinger's cat.
Explain that. I've heard of this before, but I don't
basically
know
the cat is either it's in a box, right?
Okay.
And then the cat is either alive or dead, and it's equal parts like likelihood.
Oh yeah. See, that's the problem. They're even though they want there to be like they want this to be like a double-sided argument where like, oh yeah, it could happen. It's still no, it's not. It's not. That's kind of the problem. Let me see here. So let me pull up my notes real quick. Yeah. So so we're talking about Stu Clues here. We're going to talk about clues, and just for the people at home. Actually, you know what? Before we dive into that, I did invite, I invited Em into here. I never heard back from her, but I do have I have something from her live stream that we were in a few weeks back. We were both in the chat. I recorded a couple of audio exhibits here with her guests, and they did a very good job. I mean, she's really good at the live stream hosting. Hence why I wanted her in here, and she will be invited again for the one in 2 weeks. That one will be talking about some stuff I think she'll be a little more interested in. Now, this was with her guest. They said this, and this is just something that I have to kind of take issue with because I hear people say this a lot, and it really irks me for the same reasons for the stuff I just showed on here. But people they feed into them, right? And they kind of I guess they're trying to be nice and be respectful towards them, even though like there's a difference between being respectful to a person and not just like not telling the truth because you're worried about offending somebody or hurting their feelings, right? If these people are on here on YouTube saying shit, these people are running a business. Like these people are getting tax forms from Google. right? They're in the public domain, running a business, making claims, all this shit, right? And it's our job to hold them to account. They don't just get to run roughshod and say all this shit and whatnot. But anyway, so this is a clip of just kind of what they said here. And I know we've talked about this before in the stream I did, the opening of your stream a month ago. We talked about this. But I'm going to play this.
I've had people be extremely rude to me for thinking Stu is dead, even though in 7 it pretty much confirms that he is. I
just want to pause that real quick. See, they didn't pretty much confirm he's dead. They told everyone he's dead. And they called them dumb for believing it. Like they went the extra mile that I never thought they would go. But I think M's
the film was trolling Stu fans as much as it was trolling Sydney fans.
I mean,
and even Melissa Barrera fans.
But you have to draw a line sometimes.
Right, well, your passion becomes manic at one point, and that's it's out of hand, you know. And so these new people,
delusional,
they need to decide, obviously, whether they're going to bring Stu back or not, because the campaign is still there, and Lillard is leading the charge. So
unfortunately,
they need to decide if Stu is alive or not. That needs to be literally the first thing they decide. Is he in? Is he out? And they need to make it abundantly clear, either way, that either prior to the movie or after the movie or during the movie or whatever, that he is unequivocally dead.
No, see, they already did that. This is what I'm trying to say. They did it again in Scream 1. He's fucking dead. They did it in Scream 5. He's dead. They did it in 6. He's dead. And then they did it in 7.
I really think it was Stu. Because that'd be dumb. Stu's dead.
He's dead. They've already done this. The new people.
Dude, when he did that, I fucking laughed in the theater.
Yeah, the new people in Scream 8 do not need to address this again.
I knew it would piss off Stu fans once he said that.
Well, here's the thing: if they would have done the version we talked about with Anna Camp yelling off the Stu Clues, you would have heard me laughing from the parking lot. Like that's how I would have been on the fucking floor.
Dude. Oh, if they called it Stu Clues in the movie, that would have been hilarious. Yeah. Like if they had a whole like going at the Stu fan base hard and like pretending to embrace it and like, yeah, Stu's really alive. You guys were right. Only to find out at the end, actually, nah, psych.
Yeah. But again, like I think that
I wish it was more mean spirited. Actually, like if
so do I. That's what I'm saying. They needed to
more hardcore going at the Stu fan base. Then I would have liked it even more.
There was no effort to make it even slightly believable. Like I said, they not to us. They didn't go far enough.
You know what they should have added? They should have added like an online component, kind of like they did with Scream 5 and 6, where like you have, you know, like let's say that Ben guy, he was on all the stab forums, and there's like this whole Stu sub thing or whatever, thread or whatever the fuck, where they're like talking about Stu Clues and stuff. And then Ben drops like the Stu Clues. Like, instead of talking about whatever their stupid relationship, trying to pretend to be like discount Billy Loomis shit. How about like how come your mom doesn't believe the Stu Clues?
The friend group should have been diehard Stab fans that were divided on Stu.
Yes, that would have been good.
When Jessica
wrapped that into the plot and been like, well, how do you know Stu's not alive? Well, fucking TV dropped in his face 30 years ago. How about that?
When Jessica would have gotten attacked with the double hands over the head, then one of the kids, it's a Stuther, could have been like, see, I told you.
And then the next day you see people debating about it, like online, making videos like, you got to be fucking idiotic to believe that was really Stu, you know, and just the whole thing. Like that would have been great.
Rockets Kitty said Stu needs to tell me to his face he is dead. Well, on the topic of what we just played right there with that making it clear thing. Okay, well, what about this? Because you talked about this at the beginning of your stream a month ago, and we had a discussion about this. And so here's Spidey. I'm just gonna So he Spidey thinks he has the answer. I'm gonna let you respond to it.
Dig up this fucker's grave. Just do it. It'll end these debates once and for all. But that's it for today. Meet me back here tomorrow, my amazing Stu believers.
No, no. See, that's not gonna solve anything because what did you say a month ago? If they dig up his grave,
that they'll just doubt that that's really Stu's corpse and his teeth. And he said something like they would be able to check dental records, which, I mean, do they have Stu's dental records from 30 fucking years ago? I mean, I don't know. Do they save that shit?
But I'm going to do a reenactment of the post I made in the Woodsboro Horror Film Group when someone wrote that same thing. And Screamate, they can dig up and DNA test it and show his rotting corpse. These two lips fools will say he's still alive. And my response was basically that Spyglass could send a representative to each movie theater in the flesh to stand up in the audience and say, hey, everybody, I'm from the studio. I'm going to pause the movie here in a little bit. And they could pause the film and say, just so you know, we are confirming Stu is dead. And that person could walk through the rows of the theater and slap each person in the face. Say, he's dead. He's dead. He's dead. And walk through there. And then the next day they'd be on Facebook saying, hey, why would they send a rep to try and convince me he's dead? He must be still alive, right? That's exactly what they would do. There's no way out of it. That's the shit.
Yeah.
You know, we know how this goes. So Spidey can say, dig up this fucker's grave all he wants. We know what happens if you dig his grave up.
Mm-hmm. They wouldn't believe it.
I'm
sorry, but they wouldn't.
I have a segment planned for 2 weeks from now where we're going to try and come up with a way, if there is something that they would believe, if there is a possibility, is there something that they could do? And I think I
know what they would believe.
What's that?
They would believe a flashback scene that shows Stu like being buried, like literally like going to the coroner, going, put it in the body bag, put it in the fucking coffin, that whole process, right?
Now, in order to do that,
all in flashback, right? And it was in the movie, and then you see him getting plopped in the ground, and it says the end at the end. Then they would have to believe it then. Only
if the camera was actually on top of it, like every second of the way, showing his face in every like close up. Because if they didn't do it, if it was
just could be like one of those montages, like in the beginning of a movie where it has music playing over it, like a Beatles song, like playing, like looking at just at his face,
wind by Kansas,
like
Kansas,
over.
Dust in the Wind.
Yeah.
but the camera would have to be on his face because, like, let's say they show his face at the morgue and then they show him put in a bag and then they just show the casket go in the ground. They'll say, no, they switched the body. There was a different body in that casket. You'd have to have a camera on his face in like every single frame of all of these different sections of the montage. They'd have to be so specific. And if they left anything out, they would accuse. So, because they see everything through Stu goggles. We'll get to that in a little bit. Are you frozen or are you just looking down? Oh, okay.
Looking down.
Yeah. I was convinced you were frozen for a second.
No.
Let me see. Yeah, so for the people
with a window.
What was that?
Look at the comment in the
coffin with the window. yeah. They would need they would need a glass coffin in that scene so you could see through it. And then even then they would say, well, that could be a body dummy. Leslie could have switched the body.
How would they compare the DNA is my question. If they were going to dig up Stu Macher's corpse, right? Where would the DNA be? Like in some evidence locker somewhere? Like they would just keep that around for 30 years? Like Stu's blood or whatever? Like his fucking bloody ass sweater from that night?
I suppose
that's where the sweater is. It's in the evidence locker.
Yeah.
Right?
See the robe, but where's the sweater? Got a thing for Sid. He's coming back to get her.
See the robe, but where's the sweater? Oh my god, that's so dumb.
So that's So just for people who don't know about what a Stu Clue is, okay? because some people may not know exactly what a Stu clue is. There's like 50 of them, right? And growing. 50 before Scream 7. Now there's more. I'm going to play 2 little examples here of what a Stu clue is. I have 2 of them saved just right here. These are not major ones that we can really discuss. But what I'm saying is, like, if someone wants to know how desperate they are sometimes to come up with these things, here's an example.
Clue number 5. Stu does say, "I'll be right back." So, he'll be back in Scream 7.
That's a clue. That's it. That's the whole thing.
Wait, what was the clue? Say it again.
This is it. I'll play it again.
Clue number 5. Stu does say, "I'll be right back." So, he'll be back in Scream 7.
What?
That's the whole clue.
What?
That's it.
That also completely misunderstands the origination of that remark in the first movie. That's supposed to mean when you say that you're going to die.
I mean,
you're going to be next, basically.
How
does that suddenly mean? He literally only said that to mock like Randy saying it earlier, where he's like, "Don't say you'll be right back," because you won't be back, right? It's literally he said that to mock Randy.
I don't know how that is a clue, but I mean,
he's saying he said that in the first movie, right?
Yeah,
like when he's going through the door when they get revealed, and he's like,
going,
"I'll be right back," like that.
Right.
Scene.
That means he's coming
to
back
mock Randy. That doesn't mean that.
Here's another example of a clue.
Clue number 36. And this one was found by Marcus from I Shot Him 6 Times. On the phone with Gail, Ghostface says, "Richie and Amber carved Dewey up like a Christmas goose."
Carved him up like a Christmas goose.
And in the first movie, Stu says, "Look at this place. It's like Christmas."
Are you kidding me? Look at this place. It's like Christmas.
I think this is another subtle clue snuck in there by the writer.
I wasn't aware that Christmas was an exclusive holiday celebrated in the Macher household. Because if it were, then that clue might make sense, right? If Christmas wasn't like the most popular holiday on the planet, like, I don't understand how that is a clue for Stu. I mean, that is really like desperation.
Christmas? No.
Like, I mean, just to say, "Oh, Christmas." He said Christmas.
That's desperate. That is reaching.
That's really like desperate stuff.
That
I
is
guess
reaching.
Filler to get to the even 50.
Like, again, if you want to go over actual Stu clues, then fine. But that's reaching shit.
Yeah. That's the thing. Most of them, it is reaching. Most of the 50. Like, it's like desperate shit like that where you're like, okay, I don't know why anyone would think that's a clue, but all right. Right. So that's just kind of an example of what a Stu clue is for people who are a little bit confused there or did not know. So now we'll move into let me see here. What do I got? What do I got lined up next on this? We need to talk about the alternate ending myth, right? This is a big thing they keep talking about. This whole thing with the alternate ending. And Rockets Kitty brought up the evidence in Scream 6 where, they even have the TV. And that's all. I'll be talking about that eventually, because the whole thing with that TV being an evidence really says a lot. The alternate ending. This is something that, they keep talking about. And again, we already kind of established that this is just something made up by Kevin Williamson, right? Just completely, just as far as we know, there's no evidence of this alternate ending existing.
Right. There's no evidence at all.
Right. So I have some recordings here, but this is their new thing, right? They want this alternate ending. They're essentially, they want to see it. And the reason why they want to see it so bad is because they want to be able to try to canonize it.
Here's an anti-Stu clue I'm going to give.
Oh, go ahead.
Anti-Stu clue. Okay. This is, he only said that because he was pressured by the studio to say it so that it would keep the Stu fans coming back for future Scream movies and keep the money coming in. So that's my anti-Stu clue.
that makes a lot more sense than the real Stu Clues.
Yeah.
For sure. Here's a first exhibit here.
We could say Stu got away in Scream 7 because he did. They just deleted the scene.
They'll dismiss that.
That was never said that he got away. And even if there was this scene that was filmed, we don't know that it actually exists.
Right. No, they're clinging to this, and there's a lot. They're talking about this alternate ending as much as they can.
Mark your calendars. We're finally getting that Stu deleted scene. I believe we're going to see the deleted scene on the DVD.
Nope. You know, if I would just wish that people would go by what's in the actual movies themselves. Like, just stick to that for your clues. If it's not in the fucking movie, then you can pretty much discard it.
And in case anyone wants to know what's in the DVD, here it is. You don't see the Stu cut in here anywhere, right? It's not here. So we can dismiss that shit.
There is no Stu cut. There is no Stu deleted scene. And you know what? If that scene did exist, it would be in the deleted scenes on the features on the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Again, there's my anti-Stu clue.
Yeah, you would think this would be common sense, but again, they're clinging to this because they need it to be true. I believe this one's.
Are any of them asking why that scene wasn't on the deleted scenes?
Let's listen to this.
I think one person said that it was going to be on the digital release of the thing. Was it on there either? No.
Overall, I feel.
Are there even any deleted scenes with digital releases? Dude, you got to tell me when you're playing the fucking clip.
Oh, sorry.
Otherwise, I'm going to talk over it.
To answer your question, no. There has not been released on anything. Here comes a clip.
Overall, I feel at peace, I guess. Although I will say, with the deleted scenes incident of a couple of weeks ago, I'm like, that reopened my wound, and I was like, where's the scene, Kevin?
Right. Well, you're talking about the scene with Stu being. Yeah, isn't that crazy? Why wouldn't they put that out there?
I don't know, man. Why would you tell it? Like, it's just
because it doesn't exist.
Anyone can accidentally blab something by accident, but it's like he intentionally told us. Well, us as in like in an interview, but then then we get the scenes and we're like,
he's reeling y'all in.
Like, I was really looking forward to that.
Reeling y'all in.
And that might have like changed my opinion on the ending.
They
and
baited you again.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
first they shoved it in your face in Scream 7 that he was dead, right? Then after the movie, you're like, "Where's Stu?" And he's like, "I got another Stu clue for you."
One second, let me finish this.
We don't know, or at least I have no concrete information on it. But do you have a guess on why they didn't include that in the deleted scenes?
It almost gives me the impression that like maybe Kevin wasn't even supposed to disclose that information.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's like it almost feels like they made their decision and they don't want to give us anything at this point to
it feels like an extra slap, doesn't it?
A little bit, yeah. And I don't know if it's probably not mean-spirited, but I think to us who were like, well, like, we need like a crumb.
Final reveal, you got to be able to pause the shit. If that final reveal in Scream 7 wasn't a slap in the face, I don't know what is.
This one's almost
need something. We're dying here. Like,
right.
You can't do
Why
this
wouldn't they think they'd take slaps in the face, like extra ones? Of course they're going to do more slaps in the face. What are you talking about? They trolled you for a whole movie. You think they're not going to troll you again?
What she just said, she said, "Give us something. Give us a breadcrumb. We're dying here." Okay, she said, why do you need this? That's
exactly what Stu said before he died.
Right. Like, why do they need, like, why they act like they need this? Like, please give us something. Show us.
Very weird.
It is. And so you did the impersonation earlier of Kevin Williamson with his husband.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do mine now.
Okay.
So here's for everybody for what we're talking about. So basically, here's what happened. Just so everybody knows, this alternate ending Stu cut shit was not in the script. It's not part of the film. It was never supposed to be shot, if it was even shot. That's the answer to their question. Why it's not on the DVD? Because it's not supposed to be real. It wasn't supposed to be made. It's not the original intention, because they keep saying this, and we're going to hear more in a second. You know, oh, they originally were going to bring him back, and then test audiences said no. No, they were not originally going to bring him back. It was not in the script. It's not part of anything. It's just bullshit. Now, okay, I'm going to narrate this.
Yeah, this was the idea.
I went to game night at Mike Flanagan's house, and fucking Lillard was there. Oh, I'm like, oh shit. He's going to ask me about Stu all fucking night, isn't he? He's never going to stop asking me about Stu. God damn it. And the whole evening, he was just like, you've got to bring Stu back, man. You got to bring Stu back. And I'm like, oh, what do I tell this fucker? He won't shut up. My husband goes, just tell him. I was like, no, man, I'm not. And he kept going on and on about it. Finally, he said, listen, motherfucker, Stu's dead. Grow up. You sound like these clowns online. And kept going on and on about it. Finally, I said, listen, wait, whatever. It will make no sense whatsoever if he's alive. And I do not want to do this franchise, you moron. I do not want to jump the shark in that big a way. I'll jump one shark, but I won't jump 50,000 sharks, Matt. You have to grow up. He's dead. And he goes, all right, bro, forgive me. And in my head, I'm going, oh, shit. Like, that's what happened, right? Dude,
and then he shrunk down like the little beta male that he was.
Dude shows up to game night at Mike Flanagan's house, and he's getting heckled by Lillard the whole night about Stu. Like, that's what fucking happened.
Williamson's going to bring me back, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Sunday's going to bring me back, man.
And so, just in case anyone was just in case anyone was curious about what was originally going to happen in Scream 7, this is it. He had to tell Lillard Stu was dead. There is no Stu cut. There is no plan for Stu to be alive. No, he said from the start, you're dead, motherfucker. Yeah. You're not coming back.
And this right here shows that he says, oh shit, I lied to him, but then I realized I didn't lie to him because he's not alive. I told him he's in the movie, but we're having a very specific plan with how to show him without actually bringing him back to life.
Here, let's let Nev Campbell say it. Nev Campbell.
Super stoked. It's been challenging to figure out how do we get Matt back, because we've always wanted to, and we realized the best way to do that was for it to be an AI character of Stu, which makes sense. It's a perfect way to do it without it being completely cheesy and unrealistic.
So if that was the plan, okay, let me make my point without you playing a million clips, okay? If that was the plan all along, according to Kevin Williamson, according to Nev Campbell, according to everyone, right? That was the plan. That was the script. Are you telling me they went off script to plan a completely different scene that doesn't go with the rest of the movie? That doesn't make any sense. It makes far more sense that Kevin Williamson just said that to bait the Stu fans and make them think, oh, is he still alive? But you guys are not thinking about it critically and taking in all the actual evidence to the contrary. Look, this was the plan all along. They weren't going to bring him back to life. They had a plan to use him as AI, and that's it.
Yeah, and from what I heard about the laptop thing, and Spidey made a video talking about this, where he said that basically what happened was while they were filming, Lillard started begging him to film something. And he was like, oh, God, I got to get this guy to shut the fuck up. And then he sat him down in front of a laptop and filmed this shit, and that was it.
Now, I could believe that happened.
Like that's what I think probably happened.
Is that what happened?
I think it is.
Matt Lillard just like nagged him into filming a scene.
Yes. Spidey even says it. Like, I have the clip. I'm not going to bother playing it because I got too much of the shit to get to. But yeah, he basically said that. Yeah.
That's funny.
You know, Lillard was begging. You know, so they keep and here's another one. This one here. Another one, and this guy does a lot of Stu baiting with kind of like clickbait titles revolving around Stu, I have noticed.
Was the reveal from Kevin Williamson that...
You good? What were you trying to say?
Shit off the screen now.
Oh.
You don't need this anymore.
Yeah, we need your face up there. Here we go.
Stu Macher would have been confirmed to be alive at the end of Scream 7. Well, I have an update on this. Apparently, the way this would have worked is this. Stu was allegedly going to be revealed after the climax of the movie. It would have almost been a post-credit moment with the line, Stu's dead, alive in spirit but dead, being a major nod to Stu being revealed away from the motive of Jessica, Marco, and Kyle. Now, you guys have to remember as well, the initial plan was for Jessica to be posing as Leslie Marker, which inspired the duo of Kyle and Marco to follow her in the first place. So the ending would have been unchanged for them killers. They would have been defeated the same way. But Stu would have been revealed to be alive following the ending of the film. And the elements to explain how this happened were already in the final version of Scream 7. It was already there because the killer's motive wasn't really linked to Stu, but the details of his body being missing from the coroner were already in place, and that was part of the original plan. So when the film was over and the killers were defeated and it was confirmed they'd made this up, Sidney would have relaxed over it all, but then at the end, Stu would have been revealed to be alive.
No, because he was not supposed to be alive. It's not in the script for Stu to be alive. Again, Lillard begged Williamson to film this shit. That is not the original intent of the film. Regardless of whether Jessica was supposed to be posing as Leslie Macher or not, that has nothing to do with Stu closing a laptop, right? That's not supposed to be there. It's not in the fucking script. So for him to say that's the original plan, to have Stu in the shadows, it's not. They're making this up. And see, that's why they won't put, even if it does exist, let's say it does exist, they will not put this shit on the DVD because, to quote fucking Chuck McGill from Better Call Saul, it's like giving a machine gun to a monkey, right? If they put this shit out there, if they put this deleted scene out there, yeah, it's the equivalent of giving a machine gun to a monkey. You know what they're going to do with it. They're going to, oh, look, he's alive. We were right. Oh, my Stu Clues. Like, they're going to do this shit.
And then that would also obligate them to use him in the next movie.
Exactly. They were never going to do this.
You can't just reveal that at the end and not make a movie afterward with Stu in it. Right?
Exactly.
And you have to expand why he's alive and show the whole backstory and him leading the cult and all that stuff.
They love that shit. And speaking of cult, yeah, I figured for fun we'll jump to.
I think it was smart of the studio to make it kind of just a self-contained kind of story without.
Well, they always do. Nobody wants to box themselves into an obligated sequel. The only time you ever see a movie do that and is when they film them together. And I know you're familiar with this. If you look at Back to the Future Part 2 and 3, right? I'm pretty sure they filmed that on top of each other, didn't they?
Yes, and they didn't. They didn't plan with that first movie to actually make a sequel. They just made that ending scene as kind of like a joke, like, haha. See, Doc's coming back from the future, and it's all, another adventure. But we're not, we don't have any solid plans for a sequel. And then the studio's like, hey, you got to make a sequel. And they're like, all right, well, let's flesh out this future world and, see what kind of story we can make. And you can tell in the first 10, like, I love Back to the Future Part 2. Like, I could talk to you about that movie forever. Okay?
I like it better than the original.
I love Back to the Future. The first one, second one, third one, it's not as much, but at least the first two, I love those. And I love the second one a lot. I love it for many reasons, different from the first movie. But I will say, in that first 10 minutes of that movie, you can tell that they were trying to overcome the writing in of that ending, the last movie, because there's one part where Doc does this thing where he takes this it's called an alpha rhythm rhythm generator or something like that, and he basically makes Jennifer pass out in the car, right?
Yeah.
While they're riding through the sky in the DeLorean.
Yeah.
In 2015. And Marty's like, well, why did you do that, Doc? And he's like, oh, it's just something to make her kind of pass out, to fall asleep, so she wouldn't be, because she's asking too many questions and no one should know too much about their future. And then Marty says, well, why did you bring her for? Right? Why did you bring her then? Because he brought her at the end of part 1 which wasn't meant to have a sequel. And now they have to explain why Doc decided to bring her, which was a boneheaded thing to do in the first place. But now he has to explain. He says, well, I had to do something. She saw the DeLorean, you know, and I had to do something, right? I had to take her along with us. And so, and then he says, but don't worry, she's not essential to my plan. And so it's like, okay, we kind of write that off a bit, but then they actually integrate that fuck up into the story and make it so that Jennifer gets taken home by the police. Then Doc and Marty have to go to Marty's future home to go retrieve her. You know, they see like Marty as an old man, and the whole family comes into play, and that actually works well. Like, even though they fucked up with the end of the you know, you could say they fucked up with the ending of the Back to the Future Part 1 by including that kind of ending scene by bringing Jennifer along. They did at least work that into the story the next time, and it made sense for Doc's arc, because that whole movie is about him coming to the realization that time travel is flawed, and that basically no matter what you do, you're going to fuck up something, right? So it worked out for the better.
Yeah, but normally a movie doesn't want to leave a cliffhanger unless they have something planned and they're filming on top.
Exactly. You don't nowadays nothing like that would be done unless they had a firm, you know, trilogy plan from the start.
Yeah, they did it with the second and third Matrix movies.
Yeah, the 80s was the birth of like the blockbuster, and they didn't know what the fuck they were doing back then. You know, they were just kind of making shit, and then they're like, wait, we want more of this shit. And they're like, what, a sequel? What's a sequel? And they're like, we'll give you double what we gave you last time. Like, oh shit. And so they just started churning out sequels for shit.
So this whole thing, we have talked about this before, about this being like a cult. Hold on, I just want to look at the
Alpha Rhythm Generator 2.0 2026. Doc stepped on a mosquito. Nice. Yeah, and he caused COVID. Doc stepped on a mosquito in 2015 and caused COVID. 5 years later. Oops.
Let me see here. So you know, these people, a lot of times when we, you know, they accuse us of bullying them and attacking them and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I think I may have a way to remedy the situation. They may need to be a protected group.
Yes. No hate speech directed at Stuthers, because they are a protected class.
They may need to form a protected group, and I may have helped them do that here. So
you have to register that with the United States government, by the way. You have to.
Yeah, and I think what they may want to do is form the Church of Steuantology.
Steuantology. It looks like Steuantology.
I think the Church of Steuantology could be a good way for them to get protected rights. And I've also
why did you put the N there? It should just be Steutology.
Instead of
it looks like Stuntology. The way it's spelled.
Oh, it's got the little apostrophe.
You know, you're trying to make it sound like Scientology, but it's not going to sound like Scientology. It's going to sound like Stuntology.
It's okay. People know. So the Church of Steuantology, I think, and right here. I mean, see, here's the thing. Everything we talk about with the clues, everything moving forward, everything we've already talked about, it's all about this right here. These are the tenets of Steuantology, right? Everything must be viewed through Stu goggles. That's one of the big, and where I got that from, I saw a commenter on one of these videos one time go, they were talking about Scream 7, and a person replied and said, you know, you need to, the person said, well, I didn't see that in the movie when I watched. And the person replied and said, oh, you need to rewatch it again and really look at it. And the person replied and said, okay, I'm going to rewatch the movie and put my Stu goggles on. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That's kind of, you know, that's it. So basically, you know, when they watch it, you know, they have to be looking for Stu. That's kind of the whole point.
Yeah.
And then the next
one, you
one,
see Stu in the bread, basically.
Yes. The refusal to break the fourth wall, right? That means that, you know, it can't be a continuity error. It can't be a goof. It can't be a lack of.
It's Studolia. You know pareidolia?
No.
Pareidolia is the tendency for human beings to see faces and things.
Okay.
The
cereal.
Steudolia.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. That's for the Stu goggles. For refusal to break the fourth wall, everything has to be literal. You can't say, well, they just didn't put any effort into this, or, there's a continuity error, or, he's wearing the wrong pair of shoes. You can't, it's literal. It has to be a literal, and that also applies in reverse, right? So they also try and take like real world stuff and implant it into the movie, even if the movie contradicts it and provides superseding evidence. They will still try and use that. Then there's the demanding to be spoon-fed every detail about everything and have their hand held, right? So the whole thing about the missing morgue papers, because the killers didn't come out and say, we stole those, that's a Stu clue, right? They have to have their hand held. They would need you to spell every little thing out, always. Then there's the omission of important details and common sense knowledge, which we're about to come to here real quick. And then you have the mass delusion culture, right? They just kind of repeat all the same stuff. There's kind of under this cloud. Everything we talk about with the Stu clues comes back to these 5 things. You can point literally right back to one of these with every single thing. So here's a Stu goggles thing.
I gotta rewatch it again. So I've seen the movie 5 times, I think. I've only rewatched it 1 time at home, but 5 times total. But when I rewatched it at home, I watched it with my sister. So I wasn't like in the zone of like carefully analyzing all of the scenes and like taking notes and stuff. So I definitely need to watch it again by myself where I can like lock in, look at some clues, come up with some more theories and stuff like that so that I can reignite the Stu passion in me. Because right now I'm just not feeling it that much.
So there's an open admission that she has to put her Stu goggles on.
Right.
Like they're actually coming out and saying now, like, okay, I know this is bullshit, but if I try hard enough, maybe I can make it real again.
That's like when you're in like the 10th year of your marriage and the sex has died and you're like, well, maybe if we try with a strap on, honey, it'll work this time.
Holy shit.
Why can't you get up? God damn it, I wore my sexy outfit and everything for you, you goddamn worthless piece of shit.
Trying to get me demonetized.
I'm sorry.
No,
I
it'll be good.
Kind of unpredictable.
It should be good. Here.
Contradicts the idea of Stu Macher being labeled officially dead, as within the movie itself. There are some telling clues that prove that not only was Stu actually alive in parts of the film, but that he was also the Ghostface in the opening scene who killed Scott Madison before burning his old home on Turner Lane in Woodsboro to the ground. Okay, everyone, so the moment that Matthew Lillard was announced to return to Stu Macher in Scream 7 in early 2025, the hope from all of the fan base was that with his return, the long-standing theory in question as to whether the character is alive or dead would finally be answered and put to bed once and for all. And though we got our answer in the final act when the killers are revealed to not be Stu Macher, only using the character as a form of AI to mess with Sydney, even going as far as saying believing Stu was alive would be dumb, the film itself does anything but put the theory to bed, with Matthew Lillard himself saying after the movie was released that all Scream 7 did was add fuel to the fire on the chance that Stu is actually alive. And though initially after watching the movie the first 2 times, I was all but off of the Stu train, after going back and rewatching the movie even more times after those first 2 times, as well as getting a tip from a subscriber/follower about dialogue spoken in the opening scene, I now believe the chance for Stu Macher to eventually be revealed alive is extremely high, with 7 serving as the framework for how they are going to reveal it and make it all make sense, whether that's in Scream 8 or Scream 9.
Yeah, that is like that's some hardcore copium.
Yeah, that's cope stuff.
I
It's
mean,
like, dude, stop it. They were supposed to reveal him in this movie. Now they got you baited for another one.
Well, and here's the thing. Notice what he said. Scream 8 or Scream 9. He's
Or
actually
9. It takes 3 movies to, not even 3. Because you got to rope in Scream 5 and 6 too, with all those clues. So they're dropped Stu Clues for 5 movies, and you're in for all that.
You know what they should do?
Like, this ain't fucking complicated shit, you know.
You know what they
it's
should
literally
do?
just him taking off a mask. Like, it's not that complex. And if he's hiding for 5 fucking movies, don't you think that's kind of bitch made? Like, why isn't he showing himself? What is he afraid of? He's already a dead man for 30 fucking years. You saying he can't come out and take off a mask?
They should repeat the same thing. They should repeat the exact same formula as Scream 7 for Scream 8, but instead of using AI, use the prosthetic mask.
The prosthetic
stuff. And then in Scream 9, do the same thing, but use like a fucking like Coachella hologram, like hologram of Tupac before you just hologram of Stu.
Yeah, every
and then
movie.
in Scream 10,
and then they're
genetically
eventually going to really reveal him then.
Scream 10 will be a laboratory created Stu.
And in Scream 20,
it's Stu's twin. And then just keep every movie.
When Stu is 70 years old, they'll finally reveal him.
Every movie,
he's like,
it's Stu Macher.
Every film, they can just do a different Stu fake out, and every movie they would fall for it.
They would
like,
eat all that shit up. They would eat all that shit up.
Well, they had me until the end. Every single one.
Hold on a second, though. Let's go back. So that beginning scene that the guy mentions in Scream 7, that's literally like an Easter egg for you Stu fans about how people argue about whether Stu is alive or dead. Plus, it kind of foreshadows the whole Stu coming back thing in the movie. That doesn't prove that he's alive. It's literally making note of the controversy that exists in real life about Stu being alive or dead in these movies.
Notice what they have to say, though. They keep saying, I have to rewatch the movie more times. Initially, I knew he was dead.
Wait, hold on. How did he not catch that on the first fucking watch? I caught it the first fucking time I saw it. He had to watch it 3 times to catch that scene.
So his
it's
theory,
literally right in the beginning.
His
before
theory
anything
on that,
happened.
What he's talking about, we'll be talking about this in 2 weeks. His theory is that the opening scene, the animatronic ghost face, after it's swapped out for the real person, that it is saying lines that only Stu would know. That's his theory on that. And I can actually debunk that theory with a whole nother in-universe theory that I'll be talking about in 2 weeks. But that's what he's saying. He's saying that, the ghost face has Stu's lines. That's what the fan told him, or that's what he caught after rewatching. It's all nonsense. Listen to this. You're going to laugh at this. This is like, I don't even know what to say about this.
Clue number 24. Amber says she was radicalized and just wanted to be a part of something. That right there screams cult to me. She wanted to be a part of something. And cults have these beliefs and a mission that they want to carry out.
The irony of her talking about a cult like that was what she just said. They have a mission.
That's the irony of all these Stu believers. The cult of Stu is all of y'all online.
Oh my goodness.
Believing this without question. That is the true irony of this whole situation. And that whole Amber line, that was a joke.
She was lying. She was trying to protect herself from getting killed from Sydney and Gale.
It was a lie, but also they said it for comedic effect.
Yeah.
It was literally told as a joke. It wasn't like a genuine like right. Them interviewing her like, so how did you hear about this stuff? Why did you do this? I was radicalized online. I met this one guy through this and that. And by the way, the whole radicalized thing, that could have just been from Richie. Even if she was serious, it could have been Richie radicalized her.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just,
why automatically assume cult equals Stu equals,
Yeah, that's the same thing as the Christmas goose.
Yeah,
right? It's not any different.
reaching. It doesn't automatically insinuate a cult. It could just be one guy who, you know, got her to go along his mission.
And again, it's just a throwaway line.
Yeah,
She's
it is.
Just saying, hey,
you guys,
hey, you know, don't hurt me. I was radicalized. And then she tries to attack
it's
him.
literally a joke line. She says it as a joke. Do you want to play the scene?
What?
Do you want to play the scene on the stream?
Oh, I don't have it. I mean, everyone knows what it is.
Dude,
But
it's
again,
on YouTube. We can play it right now.
She just says, oh, I was radicalized. Don't hurt me. Like, that's all she does. Everyone knows. No, again, but that's the Stu goggles, right? She has her Stu goggles on. So she's like, okay, how can I make this fit? And we talked about this before. That's the thing with all this and why this stuff isn't theories. Notice that, again, the reason why this stream is called Myth and Fantasies and not Stu Clues and Theories is because these aren't theories. Like, this stuff isn't being like pulled out of the film and analyzed. They want Stu to be alive, so they're pushing it into the movie.
Right.
I mean, that's really all it is. You know, and as far as now we have to talk about the 6 times guy who did a crash out 2-hour-long video cursing and swearing.
Wait,
calling me. Go ahead.
Before we move on, I want to play this one scene. It'll literally just be a few seconds.
Okay. Just the audio.
Yeah, just share the screen. Just share.
Well, it's the video. I don't want to put a video in here. Let me.
You're not going to get claimed for this.
Hey, wait, I can just.
You're not going to get claimed. Trust me.
Let me.
Literally a few seconds. Trust me. I do this for a living. You're not going to get claimed.
If I do, I got to cut it out.
No, you don't. You don't have to cut it out.
If
You're
I
not
do,
going to
I'm
get
gonna-
dinged for this, dude.
Hold on.
Trust me.
Oh, hold on. I got to remove this. Well, everyone knows what it is. Here. I want to.
I know, but I want the inflection to be set on here so that.
Okay, go ahead. Play it.
Okay. Wait. Whoops.
Make the visual smaller.
Make the visual smaller.
Yeah, so then it definitely won't get claimed if it's.
Dude, the audio. It's audio visual, dude. Just trust me. I know what I'm talking about.
No, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. No, it was the message board. I was radicalized. So mad, please. It's not my
That's clearly a joke. Like, how
Right.
how can you read that as like them being serious?
Right.
She was clearly saying that to like negotiate and you know talk her way out of it.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, they say that's you know.
The
Whatever.
writers
I mean,
wrote
it's
that
not-
line as a joke, and clearly her character was desperate to not, you know, to get out of that situation. So that's why she said it.
Yeah, I don't know why anyone would think that. Well, they're trying to say that Amber and Richie met in Stu's little online cult forum, which they believe exists, which obviously doesn't exist. It's not a real thing. They're just making it up. As far as what we're going to move on to now is we're going to do the first big debunking of the Stu Clues.
Okay.
It took us almost 2 hours. When do you have to leave?
I should probably get going like now. So I got a stream to do in a half hour, and I gotta like, you know, freshen up and shit like that.
Give me 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Because this is we're gonna debunk this hard. This is a major, the whole thing with the area code. So what I want to put out there. So this dude made a 2-hour rant video cursing, you know, calling me a racist, going at you, all kinds of shit. Right, one of the most immature things. I can't believe it wasn't live. If that would have been live, that's one thing. But he pre-packaged that and thought it was a good idea to put out.
Yeah, that was
not like he collapsed in the moment. Right. He thought it was a good idea.
That was just bad.
Yeah. So what happened here with this guy, what I want to explain is that I was in his stream with his buddy, right? And here's the timestamps of what I did. I commented all this shit all in a row. Like you can see the timestamps.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically I was calling them out about the Stu shit. Right. And I actually asked him a question prior to this as well. But what happened was this guy didn't read all my stuff together. he started picking it apart and going one at a time. And he made it seem like that was a slow drip from me, like I was planting it as a troll throughout the stream, when I actually put together a thorough, thought out question for him to read, and they didn't do it. Instead, he was trying to humiliate me, call me out. He asked me to like show how much money I made or something. He was acting like a little baby and didn't read everything I wrote. Right. And then I, talked about him once in a video showing what I had done. And then he had his crash out and that guy started posting shit. So basically, if he would have read my comments properly, none of that shit would have happened. But he didn't know how to host his live stream. So that's what happened there. And then, this other guy that was in there with him crashed out on us. And during his crash out, he started talking about clue number 40, which is the Woodsboro area code, right? They think that is like a holy grail of Stu Clues. That in Scream 6, when Gail's in her apartment, she gets a call from Ghostface with a Woodsboro area phone number. 707 or whatever it is. Who called Gail when she was at home? It came from a Woodsboro area code. It's in the song, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing, and I have some bad news for whoever made that song. After this right here, that person's going to have to remake their song, because when they find out what this whole area code nonsense, when this gets debunked right here in 2 seconds, they're going to need to retract their statements. They're going to need to retract their clue. He's going to need to modify his song and pull that shit out. Okay, so here we go. Here's this.
Point is theories like that or assumptions like that we're pulling from the fucking movie. Another prime example. When people said I was crazy to think that the Woodsboro call in Scream 6 that came to Gail Weathers' phone, that 707 Woodsboro number who called Gail Weathers, some people said I was crazy to think that was Stu and that was the Baileys. Funny thing is Radio Silence came out and confirmed the Baileys were from the Midwest. So they wouldn't have a Woodsboro area phone number. Also, Bailey, Wayne, says that he saw images of what Richie looked like in the aftermath of Samantha killing him. Meaning, he didn't go to Woodsboro, Modesto, or wherever Richie's body was taken to view the body himself. He only saw pictures. Meaning, he didn't even step foot in Woodsboro. So the fact that the Bailey family is from the Midwest, and the fact that Wayne only saw pictures of Richie's death, proves that they weren't the ones who called Gail Weathers, because the one who called Gail Weathers had a Woodsboro area phone number. We're pulling that from the fucking movie, you dumb shit. So for you to say, oh, these Stu truthers and their theories, they're not really theories because they're not pulling from the movie. Yes, we are pulling from the movie, you stupid dick. Like, fuck, you talk about no matter what y'all say to us to convince us that Stu's dead, we won't believe you. Man, it's the other way around. We could give you concrete evidence. We could literally bring Stu Macher back alive.
So right there, he just admitted Stu's dead. I just want to pause that for a second. He just said we can bring him back alive. So he's saying he's dead. Now let me keep it going.
Ourselves, if we had the power to do so, to show you this shit's real, and you'll still say he's dead. You'll still say the concrete evidence that we show and that we talk about from what we see and hear in the movies, you'll still say those aren't valid without even giving a real contextualized argument as to why they aren't valid. Just talking out of your fucking ass. Sorry, guys, I tend to get a little fired up when people try to undermine my intelligence along with my constituents' intelligence.
Constituents?
When they're fucking clearly stupid them fucking selves.
Mayor of Stewville.
Mayor of Stewville, I was just going to say it. No, hold on. He said he wants a contextualized real argument. Hold that thought. Put a pin in it. We got two more.
Clue number 40. And this one is a really good one. If this one doesn't convince you, then I don't know what will. This one was also found by Marcus from I Shot Him 6 Times. He's really good at finding some of these clues. So in this same Gale attack scene in Scream 6, we can see the phone number on the phone when she gets a call. And the area code is 707, which is confirmed to be the Woodsboro area code. This was previously established in Scream 5 because we see Amber's phone number and Wes Hicks' phone number. Both of them are from Woodsboro and both have a 707 area code. If the Bailey family were using Richie's phone, Richie is not from Woodsboro. He was living in Modesto where the area code is 209. Plus, the creators confirmed in an interview that the Bailey family is from the Midwest. So none of them are from Woodsboro. But who is? Stu. I mean, really, how do you explain the Woodsboro area code?
Okay, I'm letting them kind of dig their own hole here. That's from the Stu Clue video. Here's from a video that's totally dedicated to this area code thing from her.
The next big clue for Gale's attack scene is the Woodsboro area code. The number that calls Gale during the scene has a 707 area code, which is confirmed to be a Woodsboro area code. We see this in Scream 5. Amber's phone number and Wes Hicks' phone number both have 707. This is another huge clue. We know that in Scream 6, the Bailey family is using Richie's phone, but Richie is not from Woodsboro. He's from Modesto, where the area code is 209. And the directors have confirmed that the Bailey family is from the Midwest, so this couldn't be their number either. If you're not a Stu believer, I would love for you to explain down in the comments who could have called Gale with the Woodsboro area code. That's a huge piece of evidence right there.
Okay, so I'm going to explain it for them really quickly. And he said he wants a thorough contextualized argument. So I actually can't give a thorough contextualized argument, but I can explain it to them very, very quickly. Here we go. If I buy a prepaid cell phone in New York City, can I register that phone to any area code in the country, including California?
Yes, you can register that prepaid phone to a California area code or any other U.S. area code. During activation, you usually specify a preferred zip code to get a local number, even if you're in a different state.
Yeah, so you know who called Gale in her apartment in Scream 6? Literally fucking anybody. It could have been any person in the country who bought a prepaid cell phone for $80.
Also, I want to point something else out. I don't know if you knew this, but you can get Google numbers for free. Do you know what that is?
I'd probably like sending like anonymous text messages or shit like that.
Yeah. You can just get one. Go on Google Voice, just decide where you want to, base your phone number in, like, I don't know, Maryland or something. Go to Maryland. I want a Maryland area code phone number. I can get one very easily, and then I can call someone from that number and it will come up as being from there.
And here's the thing. Nobody in the comments pushes back on this. There's nobody that responds to them and says, dude, you don't know how cell phones work? Anyone can register that phone. I know this because I did that with this phone. I did it like 4 years before Scream 6 came out. I registered my area code that way. Like anybody can do this. How do they not know this? And this is what I'm talking about. If she's listening, if he's listening to this, that whole thing, you're all this 15 minutes talking about this area code. All you needed to do was look up how cell phones are registered, and you could have found out that anyone can register that area code, no matter who it is. It could be a fucking kid that has like $80.
Yeah, and they could have just done that just to fuck with Gale or Sydney or whoever.
They obviously did. The Baileys bought a prepaid cell phone. Why is that hard to understand? Why does it have to be Stu?
Yeah, or a Google number.
However million people.
We've had Google numbers for like, I don't know, eight years now or something.
It's Stu. It has to be Stu. No, it could literally be anyone. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's a good debunking.
But in 5 seconds, they spend 25 minutes. They spend 25 minutes explaining this, and it sounds good on paper.
Right.
But again,
that was one of the more compelling Stu clues that they gave.
When she said, and this is a really good one, you guys, I was like, oh my God, this is a gift. Like, what are they doing here? Are they serious? Again, back to this. the omission of important
details and common sense
knowledge.
Yep.
Just omitting the how you. And again, here's the thing. Here's what I will say to that. If the movie would have established that was a landline, or established a rule that in the Scream universe you can't do that with cell phones, you have to register your cell phone where you live. If they would have acknowledged that in the film, then that's superseding evidence that would override our real world facts.
Right.
Because in Rule 2, it says they try and apply real world shit into the film, right? But yeah,
you know what I think is the biggest anti-Stu clue, and then I'm gonna probably leave after this, is that Guy Busick is a self-admitted like Stu head. He loves Stu Macher. It's his favorite Scream character. We know this in the real world, right?
Yeah.
So he literally wrote the movies partially because, it kind of insert it for fan service, dropping those hints. And so to me, that says that it's less because Stu is alive and more just because he likes Stu. Like, he's obviously biased towards liking Stu in writing the movie. So therefore, it doesn't prove he's alive. It just proves the writer likes Stu.
And he backed this. He put it in writing.
Right. He put that in his movie where he likes Stu, but he's verifying Stu is dead.
Yeah. I mean, that's...
but then they'll use the line from Anna Pateriana, whatever the fuck her name is, the blonde chick, where she's like, if you believe Stu's really dead.
We'll talk about that in 2 weeks.
Whatever
I know you got to get going. I'll pop into your stream, but that's our first major clue completely debunked in 5 seconds.
That's a good one.
Right. And nobody, this is the thing. I checked the comments. I scanned the comments. There was like one person who was like, I have to say, of all the clues, this might be the worst one. Why are you saying this is a good one? Everyone else, oh man, I'm convinced. Man, you really got me there. I'm like,
if you're kind of turning your brain off and not thinking about it too much, it does make sense.
Right. As does, and one thing, the main things we're going to talk about in 2 weeks, other than we're going to talk about the TV to the head still, Stu's real motive, and then we have to talk about how Amber was able to kill Dewey, how Jessica was able to lift her son up, that shit, and also the rich parents and the corrupt sheriff. That's going to be like the main thing, because that's their go-to story. Oh, who do we got here? We got who's that?
This is Trinity.
I knew that from your other stream.
Yeah.
My cats won't come in here with me.
They don't like you to walk in on you when you're discussing Stu Macher stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, that's I'm gonna
All right.
You're gonna
I'm
pop
gonna get out of here.
I'll head over on your stream here in a little bit. I'll probably
Thanks, bro, for having me up. It was fun.
Absolutely
great, and I will catch you later to do the next stream in the future.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. Good. 2 Fridays from now.
All right. See you
Works
soon.
I'll see you, bud. Yeah. So that's part one. We discussed quite a bit there, but as far as the TV to the head, Scream 3, some general writing stuff, Stu's motive, shit like that, and then the corrupt sheriff, and the whole thing with the women being able to kill people like men. That's going to be something we discuss. Oh, well, you shouldn't be completely convinced yet, man, because Stu could still be alive. I just haven't got to all of it. No, he knows better. What else do we got here in the comments? Thanks again to Armed Rebel Studios for the super chat. Well, here's the thing. If you send I shit him 6 times over here, I want to know. Here's what I would like. What I want to ask of them. Again, I'm not doing this mean-spirited when I talk about the area code, okay? But neither one of them knew how to register a prepaid cell phone. So what I want to know is, now that you know how cell phones are registered, now that you know that anybody could have called Gail from that Woodsboro area code, are you going to make a retraction video? Are you going to apologize for saying, hey, I got this one wrong, guys? That's not a Stu clue. Anyone could register that phone number. And then is the Scream song guy going to have to modify his music and pull that out? Who shot Gail when she was at home? Who called Gail when she was at home? It came from a Woodsboro area code. He's going to have to take that out because it's not a clue anymore. Sorry. I mean, it is what it is, folks. But no, in the books. Yep. This part one is done. I do have to re-upload recap 33. Had some claim issues there. I'm almost done with episode 312. And then we'll be back here live in 2 weeks for the rest of that. Obviously, we talked about the alternate ending myth, that stuff that's going around about this. And then we mainly talked about the Woodsboro area code in this one, because we just discussed quite a bit of other things. But those things are easily debunked. It looks like the bulk of the debunking is going to come in part 2, though, now that we kind of opened this up and had a few laughs and whatnot. So yeah, should be a good time here in a couple weeks. Crime Scene Stu Alive Chad is now in the books. It is. Part 1 is in the books. Oh, well, that's gonna be a wrap on this, guys. I'm kind of digging through this here. Yeah, I don't see anything else to bring up. So I'm gonna head on out. I will catch you guys in 2 weeks. Feel free to share this with any Stuther that you know. I'll see you guys.